Morning, this is Brian. Today is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. I'm here back at Mission Trails, and I'm thinking about doing a short hike up to Kwaay Paay today. Let's see how this goes. So get ready to hike up this. We got ourselves a Penstemon spectabilis, variety spectabilis. Never seen that here at Mission Trails. Apparently these were planted here. Pretty interesting. Never seen these before at Mission Trails. Now, just happened to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and go for just a little short hike up here. Up to Kwaay Paay. First time I've been on this peak this year. And we'll see what adventures befall me today. See Santee boulders. That's where I hiked last week. Right over there. That was last week's hike. Pretty cool. Yep. Actually come planning to climb Kwaay Paay today, but figured since I didn't really know what I wanted to really get into, pulled off down over there, did a spotlight video on Bladder Pod, which should be up already by the time I post this one. So this should be interesting. See how that came out. So I started on the trail right next to Bushy Hill. So that should be my third time on Kwaay Paay. My third time up there. Right up there. Been out of loop for a while. Before last week, I had been hiking in about 5 weeks. So, guess I gotta get back into the routine again. Nice views up here though. Guess I'm a little out of practice after a few weeks without getting out on the trail, which I'm regretting right now. Went from my second to last hike was March 5th, and the next hike wasn't until April 10th, last Wednesday. And now my days off are Wednesday, Thursday, expect I would be going out on Wednesday now, but I didn't go out yesterday. I'm going out today for a little bitty 22-mile hike up to and from Kwaay Paay Peak. Definitely a little more comfortable yesterday. I mean, than yesterday. Yesterday was pretty warm. It's up in the 80s, I think. Low 80s, but after a lot of cool weather last month and this month, it does take a little getting used to that. I'm more of a cool weather person myself. But look at that. Good old Kwaay Paay Peak up there. Pretty cool looking. Very beautiful hike. Such a short hike. This is a little bit of a butt kicker. Hoping next week to start getting back on track with my more adventurous hikes. Though, you can make anywhere an adventure if you have a positive mind frame to do so. So, that's why whenever I get out on a hike, I just try to appreciate the fact that I'm out on a hike as much as I can. I'm very grateful that this place is so close to my house. I live within just minutes of driving here. Let's look at that. How beautiful is Kwaay Paay Peak. Alright. Enjoying a nice level stretch before the steepness commences again. Maybe try to make it up here at least once a year. Ooh, lemonade sumac up here. Lemonade berry. Starting to get its fruit. Starting to develop its drupes. Pretty cool. Really cool. Really nice. Trying to see if I could find the mund sage I saw the first time I was here. I think I missed the first patch of it. This is the first place I've ever seen mund sage in the wild. I've seen it in the Fullerton Arboretum in Orange County near Cal State Fullerton, and I've seen it in my own garden because I purchased plants online. But up until the end of last February 2023, I'd never seen it in the wild till then, and it's on this trail. It's on the Kwaay Paay Peak trail. Hoping to come across it again. Be pretty nice. But I think I went up a slightly different way. I think. Oh, maybe not. Oh, we'll see. Should come across it. So there are a couple different ways to get to this trail. A couple different access points. Now see, there's another access point over here. I think I've come up from this one before, from this one, and there's supposed to be another one that goes right next to Bushy Hill Drive. Mine's kind of in between. Still pretty close to Bushy Hill, but not as close as the trail that starts right there by the fence at the back of the parking lot. Very glorious here. It's nice and green. It was absolutely stunning. Last time I was here, it was green and wet. But let's look at the chaparral up ahead. We're going to be going into chaparral very soon. So it should be pretty cool. All right, I'll see you up the way with some more interesting, hopefully, maybe some interesting plant specimens. What am I saying? They're all interesting. There's a lot of monkey flower out on the trail today. Probably different species or variants. This looks like the red monkey flower, Diplochus punaceus, but I think the southern bush monkey flower, Diplochus australis, I think is along here. I think that runs the gamut from yellow to orange. Some of these might actually be Diplochus australis as well. Probably some intergrading too, since monkey flowers do hybridize with one another. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that up here as well. A lot of monkey flowers today, and it's very, very stunning. This plant almost never disappoints with respect to floral displays, because it's just all over the slope of Kwaay Paay Peak. And here we go. Here's the Mun sage. Here's where I did the spotlight video, I think. Yeah, this is it. Salvia munsii. I've only come across this a couple times in the wild since last year, and it's still blooming pretty fiercely. Very beautiful sage. Similar to black sage with the warty tooth-edged leaves, but smaller, a little more oval shape, and bluer purple flowers than black sage. So yep, beautiful Salvia munsii. Things started blooming a little later this year, I believe due to the weather being colder and wetter on the back half of the rainy season. I think that's why things got off to a much later start this year. But I got this little overlook here, because I am not gonna lie, after having been absent from the hiking scene for a little over a month, sometimes you gotta just get back on it. So I figured today, this was kind of unplanned for me to climb Kwaay Paay. I was originally going to go to a coastal canyon in San Diego and maybe do that, maybe the Claremont area, maybe one of those little canyon areas that I love to visit so much. But this was closer, and figured I want to get at least a spotlight video in, which I did, which will be up probably before this one is. But look at all the flowers here on the spiny wild cucumber, Macrocarpus. These ones are just in full blast. I love it. And of course we got more of these red and orange monkey flowers here. And of course I've stopped by this guy before a few times, but I always love this toyon right here. Nice thicket of toyon right here with a neotoma wood rat nest. Toyons have always been so special to me. I see some toyon seedlings in the soil too. A couple little seedlings down there. Pretty cool. All right, well, we started resuming my uphill progress, and I'll see you up the way. So I just found some paintbrush, Indian paintbrush up here. In the genus Castellea. I believe this one's Castellea foliosa. This one seems to be a little hairier and lighter green, and these are not flowers, these are flower bracts. The flowers are inside. The flowers and seed capsules form inside of it. That's Castellea foliosa, I believe. There's another one that's richer green, darker green. That would probably be found here, be Castellea affinis, subspecies affinis, the coastal paintbrush. But I think that's the foliosa species right there, I'm pretty sure. Sometimes found here. Here we go. I'm starting to get quite a bit of it along here. I don't know. I have to double check this. Might be affinis. Kind of has a rich green color. So it might be Castellea affinis affinis. I'll double check that one. Let me get a picture or two of it and kind of cross-reference it. Of course, the higher I climb, running into a lot more black sage now. That is Salvia mellifera. Still kind of blooming. Actually, they haven't even hit full bloom. A little bit later this year. Here's a golden classic. Golden yarrow. Areophyllum confertiflorum, variety confertiflorum. There's a fair amount of that along the side of the trail as well. Something you can find from coast to 7,000 feet, maybe more in the mountains. Golden yarrow. That's always a pleasure to see on the hikes I take, especially this time of year when they're blooming. Very pleasurable to see. Chemise is going to be blooming soon too. Flower buds are starting to build on them. This hike never gets boring. I've done this a few times already. And I'll keep enjoying it every time. It's a beautiful trail, that's all I can say. Besides being a kind of a steep trail, you can give yourself enough time to enjoy the views and the wildflowers, and hopefully the wildlife if you get lucky. So that's sure as heck what I'm doing. Short enough hike where you can take your time and not spend a whole day out here. Never get tired of the views up here. Never get tired of this trail. Ooh, here's another paintbrush relative. This is the first time I've ever seen this, despite it supposedly being common. Here's an owl's clover. It's another plant in the genus Castellea. It's related to the Indian paintbrush closely. It's in the genus Castellea. I'm not sure if this is Castellea excerta. There are a couple species of it, owl's clover, because the little white things in there, little white things in the purplish bracts, kind of look like owls' faces. But yeah, it's a species of Castellea as well. For some reason, after knowing about this plant for years, they really started getting into native botany about 11 years ago. That's the first time I've ever noticed that plant. I always wanted to see an owl's clover. Again, it's a type of a paintbrush, like the Castelleas, with those long red and orange bracts that I showed earlier on a previous clip. Here's another one. So I'm not sure if this is excerta, or I think there are a couple other species of this plant. I think it's purple owl's clover. And again, it's just like the common, just like the scientific genus Castellea. It is a type of a paintbrush, or very closely related to the paintbrushes. So I'll have to look up what species that is, but I know there's a Castanea excerta, and there are a couple other species I'll have to take a look at. It's nice to finally see that plant. See, that's the thing. Every time I come up on this trail, I always find something else, some other botanical surprise every time I take this trail. So, again, just because you've taken a trail before doesn't mean you're not going to find something new on it. I've never seen an owl's clover before. I've always wanted to see owl's clover. So, see, stuff like that is a major reason why I do retake trails, sometimes repeatedly. You never know what you're going to find from one time to the next. All right, so it looks like we're fully in the chaparral now. Got a lot of fruit on these Mission Manzanitas. A lot of new developing fruits are in our beautiful Xylococcus bicolor. Starts getting a lot more common as you climb higher up towards the peak. We get out of the coastal sage scrub more to the chaparral, and you'll start finding a lot more Mission Manzanita. If anybody's been here at Mission Trails and knows something about the more conspicuous plant species, will come to know Mission Manzanita to be an abundant member of the coastal and foothill chaparral communities here in San Diego County. Very common to abundant piece of our treasure, which I call the chaparral. During the early winter, white bell-shaped flowers. During the spring and summer, green and red developing fruit. During the autumn, dark brownish, dark colored fruits that ripen as hard as wood almost. Hence the name Xylococcus, woodberry, or wood fruit in Greek. Now I saw some chaparral yuccas blooming on the hillside. Big tall candle-like stalks coming from this plant here, Hesperos yucca whippley. I see a few up higher up on the hill, but I haven't come across any up close yet. Just some previous years' plants. Yeah, those big stalks come from these. That's probably last year's or the year before's. All right. This one, oh, here we go. That one's developing. So that'll be blooming in a few weeks. Pretty cool. All right, well, I'm gonna keep working my way towards the last level stretch before the big summit push. So I'll see you on the next clip. Well, first of all, there we go. That's what I was talking about. Hesperos yucca whippley in full bloom. Chaparral yucca, chaparral candle, also known as our Lord's candle, because it's so huge and brilliant. Making my way to the last flat stop before the last big push begins. If you've taken this trail, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm just about getting ready to make the last major push. Go up there. Just take some time to appreciate the last little level stretch. Well, before I do go up, Chalk Dudleya pulverulenta. It will be probably blooming in about a month, I'm assuming. Maybe a little later this year because of the colder back end of the rainy season. Alright, so yeah, we get some very good Mission Gorge type views here. Father Junipero Serra Trail is down there. I'm getting ready for the last push. This is the last major climb before we reach the summit plateau. Once we get to the plateau, it's a pretty mellow walk to the actual summit area. But we're going to start going up some stairs. So here we go. I got some goldback ferns up here. The genus Pentagramma. This might be Pentagramma triangularis. These little ferns here. I'm seeing these a lot on the side of trails in chaparral and coastal sage scrub where it's shadier. Pretty cool. Quite a few of them here, actually. Tend to like the shadier spots underneath shrubs, on the side of really steep hills. All right, well, up I go. Still is one of the most scenic parts of the hike. Portion here, steepest part, but it's the most scenic as well. here in the summit plateau right now. Shouldn't be too much longer. All right, should be near the top soon. All right, just about there. Last few steps. Just over that way. Looks like a lot of people up there. This will be my third time up here. After not having been on a hike, a steep hike like this for a while. Yeah, had to take my time. All right, see you at the top. Just about there. All right. Sometimes I seem to abruptly close out a clip because there are people coming by and I don't think they want to be part of my movie. So I try to be respectful of other people when I'm hiking. I try to be respectful when I'm on the trail. All right. Well, here's the summit area. 1,194 feet. Third time. All right, I got the peak to myself for now. So here we are, Kwaay Paay Peak, 1,194 feet. So I guess I'll be able to point out some views. I'm going to start by looking east. Zoom out a little bit. We're looking out east towards the Vulcan Mountains. And then I can see Hot Springs Mountain right over there. I believe that's Hot Springs Mountain. Highest point in our county at 6,533 feet. We're going to start swinging it a little more towards the north. We're still really good northeast here. So east-northeast, we got the Poway Range. From left to right, the most prominent ones, Woodson Mountain, North Iron Mountain, and on one peak on the right is Iron Mountain. Over in the Poway Range, between Poway and Ramona. And then we shift a little more towards the northeast, and there's Palomar Mountain, way off in the background. Now we're going to swing it off more towards the north. And then we got that pointy peak way off in the haze. That's Black Mountain in Rancho Penasquitos. And way, way, way off in the haze, barely visible on camera, out that way is towards Santiago Peak, the highest point in Orange County in the Santa Ana Mountains at 5,687 feet, 5,687 feet. More up close, good old North Fortuna Mountain right there, the highest point in the northern part of Mission Trails. And then, of course, South Fortuna just underneath it. And then of course Marine Corps Air Station Miramar there in the center. And also looking over towards Encinitas, Del Mar, La Jolla as we start swinging more towards the west. And then of course between Claremont, La Jolla, and University City is Soledad Mountain, that ridge off in the background. And then we're going to swing it just a little bit more towards the southwest. Then we got the skyline of San Diego. And then Point Loma is a little bit in front and off to the right a little bit. And then to the south, the actual highest point of this peak is actually outside of hikeable land. So unfortunately, the area is closed behind the sign, so I basically have to call it a summit right here. So this is where I call it a summit, because it's, I guess, revegetation back here, so try to be respectful of that. And of course, the major named summits up here have a little survey marker and a little information block. Probably seen that on a couple of my other videos. If you've seen my other Kwaay Paay and other Mission Trails mountain peak videos, you can pause to read that if you'd like. I'll try to bring it close enough so it's legible. Hopefully it's legible. So if you want, you can go ahead and pause to read it. And of course, there's their little triangulation benchmark they made, which is pretty cool. Yeah, third time up here. I don't know, today I struggled a little bit more because I hadn't been out hiking, and I mean, I went out last week, but up until last week I hadn't been out hiking for about 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks between hikes, so looks like I need to start getting back into the routine again. Ever since moving here to San Diego County, back from living in Orange County, that was the longest stretch I had gone without hiking since moving here to San Diego County. I had not gone more than 2 weeks without a hike in the nearly 2 years I've been back here, and that was rough. That was tough. There's a lot going on. I'm not going to get into all the details, but not everything's fully back to complete copacetic, but it's definitely feel a little bit better. I definitely feel much better that I'm out here hiking. So yeah, I'm going to start getting ready to work my way down. I'll point out some more views towards the southeast and south once I get to a spot on the trail where it's feasible to do that. And so I'll see you partway down for another shot of views. Let's look at a few more views while I'm up here before more people come up. Alright, so actually this is more towards the northeast. So let's look more directly east. Of course, we're looking at up closer El Cajon Mountain right there. Big bad El Cajon Mountain. And of course, Cuyamaca Peak, Viejas Mountain. Then I can see Corte Madera Mountain, Los Pinos Mountain, and Gaskill Peak way off in Cleveland National Forest to the southeast. To the south we got Kwaay Paay and Coles. Kwaay Paay and then Coles right there. Some good views. Yep. Not extremely hazy like I figured it would be. Usually by April, or skies get hazier and everything. So kind of nice to still see some good views before the late spring rain layer haze kicks in, and then the summer haze and heat kind of make it fuzzy in the background. Here's looking down over the California 52 freeway, aka the San Clemente Canyon Freeway. Why? because it runs through the northern half of San Clemente Canyon between University City and Claremont. It basically separates the two communities of San Diego. But yep, and that's down towards, those are the hills I climbed last week, a couple of them. Hill 685 and 833 are down there. Santee boulders are down there. So yep, that was last week's short, sweet adventure. This hike was probably about the same distance. I still got the last mile to get back to the car. It's no big deal. It's pretty much all downhill except for a small portion of it. It's no big deal. Yep. I'll see you down the way for any more updates, and if anything else pops up or find anything else I never seen before or missed on the way up, I'll keep you posted. Found something interesting on the side of the trail here. I'm going to cross-reference it with other images, but I'm wondering if this is a Mission Manzanita seedling. It looks like it might be. If that's the case, this is a very rare find. Right here on the upper portion, right just below the summit plateau of Kwaay Paay Peak. I suspect that could potentially be a Mission Manzanita seedling right there in the center. Last picture was of this plant, but it looks like it might be a Mission Manzanita seedling. I'll have to double check and cross-reference it, but I think that might be what that is. I'll have to take a look and see. Pretty interesting nevertheless. Here's another similar seedling right here. Almost looks like a toyon. Almost looks like a toyon seedling. It's got toothed edge leaves. I'll have to double check that. That first one, that could potentially be a Mission Manzanita seedling. I've never seen one before. Here's another seedling right here. It's got to be something else. I don't think that's Mission Manzanita. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's not. Of course I'll double check it, try to verify, but pretty interesting nevertheless. Ooh, little hummingbird. Looks like a female. Pretty handsome. Looks like we've got some saka peyote starting to pop up over here on the edge of the chaparral. Pretty neat. Pretty neat, gotta say. So yeah, just left the really, well, kind of the last stretch of the really little woodsy part that I really like on this trail. Helps kind of distract from the steepness of this part here. I think with a lot of the rain we've had over the last couple of rainy seasons, it's kind of washed out a little bit and made these steps really high. Always like this, so you note this tomentosis hanging over the trail. Always liked this little part here. Looks like I missed the blooms. Pretty neat. Yeah, starting to go to seed already. These little green things are the seed capsules. Pretty neat, pretty neat. So I'll have to go research what kind of seedlings those are. You didn't think those are toyon seedlings, but if those are Mission Manzanita seedlings, or at least the first one was, that's an extremely rare find. To find that would be a huge blessing, but I've never seen the seedlings before. I've seen maybe pictures of them a few years ago, so I'll have to kind of cross-reference them. If that is a Mission Manzanita seedling, that's an extremely rare thing. Extremely rare. So we'll see. More than likely, it's probably a toyon seedling, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, just about back down at this little plateau, sub-summit plateau here. always take a minute or two to stop over here. Always love this little scrub oak over here. The Quercus acutidens right here. All the male flowers. These are all the male flowers. Quercus acutidens in full bloom right up here on Kwaay Paay. And that's just what I descended right there. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that part's always been tough. Today was especially tough since I hadn't been regularly hiking in the last month or so. So it's kind of good to get a steep, short but steep hike in today to start reconditioning my legs for hopefully more arduous hikes, hopefully in the relatively near future. I gotta kind of work my way back up again after that long hiatus. Yep. Kwaay Paay Peak. Always a pleasant experience. Meaning, it's always beautiful up here. It's always beautiful. And the first time I came up here was during the dry season of a very bad drought period. And obviously it wasn't as green as it is now, of course, but it was still very lovely. Got all that black sage blooming now. So beautiful. Such small flowers, but they pack such charming beauty. That's what coastal sage scrub and chaparral is all about. Well, I can't say that because there's a lot more to coastal sage scrub and chaparral than just flowers. There's a lot to it, but that's a lot of what it's about too. I love the chaparral. I think when I was a kid, when I was a kid and I was into plants, especially when it comes to going to the mountains, I always wanted to get past the chaparral part to get to the pine forest, the pine firs and incense cedars higher up in the mountains. But now, I appreciate every level of the mountains. I appreciate the coastal sage and coastal chaparral on the cismontane side or the coastal side of the mountains, then the higher main montane chaparral belt, and then of course different layers of chaparral, and then of course then you get your conifers and oak woodlands. So now as an adult, I appreciate it all, and I appreciate the chaparral a lot. Come to find, it is an incredibly beautiful place to hike. It can be very uncomfortable during certain times of year when the weather's hot, but it is a beautiful place to be. And I'm hoping that my videos, when I'm shooting videos hiking in the chaparral or doing spotlight on chaparral plants, that I'm helping give people an appreciation, or helping people appreciate the chaparral as well. If hiked responsibly, the chaparral area can be an absolute delight. Fragrances that are just so intoxicating. Sights, flowers, animals, and other plants that are just so beautiful. So my videos are very long-winded, I understand, but I love showing as many different aspects of each hike that I do as I can, so you get a full, at least a more comprehensive picture of not only what the hike entails, because I'm always talking about, okay, turn left here, turn left here, go right at the spur, climb up this way, use this as a good area to scramble if you're off trail. Of course, I do directions and try to point out all the geographical sites and the directions up to whatever destination it is. but I love showing all the natural features that I can speak on. If I can speak on it, chances are very good I'm going to talk about it on a hiking video. So I guess you can call these kind of like documentaries, I guess, because I'm documenting the plant life, animal life when I can. And yeah, so I like to make my videos more interpretive. That's a big part of what I like to do, and partially why my videos are so long. And I do get long-winded. I know I do. I definitely do. But I love talking about a lot of stuff that I see, just so other people can see it from a different angle, or a different perspective, or a different lens, more than just pass by this bush on the right. Yes, it's good to give directions if you're trying to get people to know what to do on a hike, but I also find it's pretty cool if you can explain what you see along the way up. So when I see other hikers' videos that talk about natural features along the way up to a peak or back from a peak or whatever, it just makes it so, to me, it makes it even more interactive and interesting. So I'm hoping that's what these videos are doing. I'm hoping that that is the outcome. I'll see you on the next clip. Alright, so I'm a nice chunk of the way down. Still got a little bit more to go. But I can see the northwestern end of Santee right here. And it's right down there. So that's the edge of my home city. Yeah, it's nice to get out and finally get to another summit. So I'm getting back to it. But I'm hoping to start getting some a little bit higher elevation summits, more mountainous summits, pending the temperatures. It's definitely cooler today than it has been the last couple of days. Still kind of warm out, but it could be worse. It's probably only in the low 70s, but when you're out on a sunny trail, it tends to be a little warmer feeling than that. But oh, this monkey flower, I can't get over it. It's such a prolific bloomer. And of course, coastal deer broom. Here's another one here. Coastal deerweed. Blooming pretty nicely up here too. A lot of that on the side of the trail. Definitely finally wildflower season's kicking in. And I'm loving it. Alright. I'll see you down near the bottom. Getting closer and closer to the trailhead. Had a really flash in the pan herp sighting. Saw a San Diego alligator lizard, but I came up on it, and there was a hiker behind me. I didn't want to stop and get in the guy's way. And then, yeah, it was a San Diego alligator lizard right in the middle of the trail. I don't think I would have had time to react quickly enough to get it on camera. It was a nice one, just laying right across the trail. I think it was the first alligator lizard of 2024, I believe. So that was pretty cool to see, but unfortunately I don't have the documentation like I normally like to have. Ooh, checker bloom. Got a checker bloom going right here. Look at that. Nice. I'll say a sparsiflora or sparsifolia. I forget which one it is. I think it's sparsifolia. I always forget. Used to be Sidalsea malviflora, but now it's been changed to Sidalsea sparsiflora, sparsifolia. Alright, so this is the way I came up. I'm going to go head back down this way for a little variety. I don't think I've gone this way. So this is the way I came up, over this hill over here. So I'm going to go this way. So maybe make a small loop out of it. I don't know if I've ever gone this way on the trail before. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a roundabout way to get back. I don't know if I ever remember coming up this direction. So I'm going to go down this direction and see. Vary up the scenery just a little bit more. So I have something different to see and different to show on camera about this beautiful hike here on the Kwaay Paay Peak trail. This is more of the western spur here, I believe. Very verdant here too. That's one thing I'm going to miss about the rainy season. We're definitely starting to dry out now. So this green won't be here that much longer. So let's see what kind of variety this side offers. This will lead me down even closer to Bushy Hill, I believe. A little more of a different scenery along this trail. Ooh, here we go. Caesaricum bellum, finally. Got some explosion of blue-eyed grass right along here. Beautiful plant. Leaves look like grass, but it's an iris family plant. So it's a monocot like grasses, but it's not a grass, as you can obviously see. It's in the iris family. A nice chunk of it along here too. Very beautiful. Kind of nice to vary the scenery a little bit. Should lead down by the same area. I was thinking it leads closer to Bushy Hill than where I came up, but both of them are right next to Bushy Hill Drive. So, oh, here's a big spiny redberry. Pretty decent sized one right here. Wow, this is a big one. This is a pretty big Raminus crocea. It's a pretty big size one. Wow, that's pretty cool. Wow, this is a nice size one. Absolutely beautiful specimen. Usually they're pretty small, but they can get up to over your head sometimes. Got another big one coming up over here too. This one's in full bloom. These little tiny yellowish green things between the leaf nodes. These little light yellowish spots those are flowers. Turning into these plump, juicy, red, fleshy fruits. Seems like we're more in coastal sage grub now. There's a lot of spiny redberry on this side. Very glad I took this way down. A lot more monkey flower, of course. Of course, lemonade berry. Fruits are starting to turn from their greenish more towards a reddish color. I think this year I'll have to find a place where they're not in a protected environment and just grab a couple and seep them in water and have some, pour a little bit of Sweet and Low or something in there and make myself a trailside lemonade treat. Yeah, it's kind of slippery. I gotta remember to switch out my hiking shoes. These are Merrell hiking boots. I've worn these for a good few years now. I just need to remember to swap them out for a newer pair. I think I have one or two. I think I have two unworn pairs I bought several months ago that I need to start breaking in. I've been wearing these for years. Now they're starting to really lose their tread. So I think it's time to retire these and use these for something else, not rugged hiking related. Oh well, beautiful trail here. I'll catch you down the way. So I guess this trail goes a little further back than I thought it would. Not a problem. It's kind of interesting. So I'll get a gentle descent all the way back down to Father Junipero. But yeah, look at these nice sized eucalyptus cladocalic sugar gums. Very nice trees in this apartment complex. Very beautiful trees. And some more large spiny redberry. Right there in the center. Of course, some Peruvian pepper trees lining the side here. But yeah, here's some pretty nice young, not fully full-sized sugar gums. So these trees can get quite large. Very nice. Okay. Be some more interesting trees on the way back. Okay. Wow. Wow, look at that Chinese elm. That's a nice dense ulmus parvifolia right there. There's such nice shade trees. Of course, Canary Island pine, extremely commonly planted around here. Oh, and I think we got a velvet ash over here. Looks like a Fraxinus velutina, also known as Arizona ash. Pretty neat. Nice, look at that Aleppo pine. That's a nice one. That is a hefty sized Aleppo right there. That's a nice one. That's a very, very hefty looking Aleppo pine. Look at that. That's a nice one. Look at that. What a nice majestic tree. Wow. And of course, we got one of its close relatives, Canary Island pine, right next to it. That's a Canary Island pine right next to it, as is this one. Canary Island pine, Pinus canariensis. Ooh! Oh, is it California quail? Oh! That's the first time I've ever seen a California quail fly. That's crazy. So, there was this fox squirrel running, and there was a dove and a quail. All three of them were almost collided into each. Well, actually, the squirrel almost collided into the dove and the quail, and then the quail went flying off over towards a shrubbery over there. It's the first time I've ever seen a quail fly. That's pretty cool. I've seen quail plenty of times. Not exactly the rarest bird you'll see, but Never seen one fly before. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I don't think they fly very far. Seeing it fly was pretty neat. And then we got weeping bottlebrush right there. I believe the genus Callistamen was known as Callistamen viminalis. I believe is being more accepted as being in the genus Melaleuca now with the paper barks. So I believe now we can call that Melaleuca viminalis now. Here's some native flavor. California sycamore, Platanus racemosa. Nice, modest-sized specimen. Still gonna create a nice little patch of shade. Here's a coast live oak, Quercus agrifolia, Variety agrifolia, looking nice and beautiful. Another big Aleppo pine. Another big Aleppo pine. Yeah, you leave these alone, and you don't cut them back like so many people do. These things can get huge. That's a pretty big one, actually. It's got a huge base on it. Three of the very commonly planted pines here, Aleppo pine, Canary Island pine, and Italian stone pine, are all three related pretty closely. Let's go see what's going on over here. A little drainage over here. Always like this little spot. I've been over here before. Nice little drainage. I wonder if this would be a breeding ground for frogs. It'd be pretty cool if that were the case. I'm not sure if it is or not, but I like seeing this plant here too. This is called fringed willow herb. This is Epilobium ciliatum. It's related to the California fuchsia, believe it or not, which are two subspecies of Epilobium conum. But this is Epilobium ciliatum, subspecies ciliatum right here. Fringed willow herb. Pretty nice little local perennial herbaceous plant. Big arroyo willow right here. Oh yeah, and this red willow. Oh, I remember this red willow from last time I was here. Pretty decent sized one too. Pretty handsome. So yeah, I've been over here before, but I never taken this trail to or from Kwaay Paay Peak. Taking this branch of it here. I'm pretty close to the end of this. This will probably have been a 2.3 mile hike because I came back a slightly more circuitous way because I just wanted to vary it up and actually take that full trail, experience it. I love being out in nature. A little beauty bird. Of course. Of course, as soon as I say it, it does a number 2. Okay. Still a beautiful bird, though. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kwaay Paay Peak mini loop. Pretty cool to see all this. All right. Unless I see something crazy, I'll see you right by the trailhead. All right. Just about back where I started. Here's one of the earliest sites on this hike. The Penstemon spectabilis, Variety spectabilis, showy penstemon. So, right here is the Brushy Hill Road trailhead where I parked. So what I did when I came here, I entered right in there. I took this way, the main Kwaay Paay Peak Trail, up, came down the main Kwaay Paay Peak Trail, and it branched off on the East Trail. Actually, this is the East Trail. So this is where I came down. So I did make a small loop at it today. Have an upside down balloon loop. So I'm assuming this hike was about 2.3 miles instead of the usual 2.2. It was about an extra tenth of a mile coming down this slightly more circuitous descent. And I think that's going to about do it. Parking lots are right here. And that'll do it for this hike. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this adventure. And hope to see you on the trail next week.